So, welcome everybody. I am so excited tonight to have Brooklyn Storm with me. And Brooklyn is, she's like down under. So, my evening right now is Brooklyn's morning. So, hey, Brooklyn, I want to talk about you for a second. And so, Brooklyn, I mean, I'm really actually excited to talk with you. She's been working in the healthcare industry, she says, for like nearly 30 years. And she is from and you're still in Melbourne, right?
Right.
Okay, Melbourne, Australia. She's down under, and her work has been featured internationally. And so Brooklyn loves helping practitioners, including coaches, in the well-being space to create businesses. She says that, excuse me, positively impact the world and allow business owners to pay themselves. And I got to say, I love that line, to pay yourselves because, yeah, there's a lot of reasons for doing what we do, but we also have to eat. So when she's not busy helping coaches build their thriving businesses, she's spending time teaching her puppy Buddy how to not eat her desk. So is that Buddy with you?
Is Buddy, and yes, he's in a very playful mood at the moment. He's kind of nipping, so he might come in and out of the screen as we're talking. So excuse me for that.
Oh, it's not a problem. It's how old is Buddy?
Buddy is 4 months, so he's 20 weeks.
Okay, so he's a young one still. Awesome. Well, he's totally welcome. Like I said, we are very informal here. So that's awesome. So again, welcome. And, we're talking about career transitions. And I mean, you've just blown me away from the day I met you. So my first question is just tell us about that career transition journey, because you came into my program, you were a psychologist, when we first met, and now you're a coach. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it kind of sounds so backwards, doesn't it? Because people can sometimes say they start off as coaches while they're working towards their MSW or, their license to become a psychologist. But I did it sort of in the reverse. What happened for me was I'd been a psychologist for 20 years or so, and there were some changes in my industry. Buddy, there were some changes in my industry. Political changes that were making things feel very incongruent with my values. And so I really, really struggled with that. And I went back to thinking about all of the things. It was like a dark night of the soul. I thought I was going to lose my career. I thought I was going to lose my business because of these political changes. I felt very unfair. I did go into victim mode for a while. And then I went back to all the things that I went to when I was a lot younger. And that was my cards. And my very first set of oracle cards was by Green Virtue. They were like the Healing Angels oracle cards. And yeah, so then I thought, well, I'll get my oracle cards out again. And I realized I didn't have any. So I had to go and buy oracle cards. And then I started reading more about manifesting, and then, just being back into the spiritual space, I started to realize this is where my passion lies. How can I combine this with psychology? Realized I couldn't really combine it with psychology, although there was a lot of overlap. And then I just made the decision that, I was going to go and do some training and learn a little bit more and see what I could do. And that's when I came across your course. And I did that course, I think it was 2019 now, so nearly 4 years ago, and it was life-changing. And I was sharing with you just before we came on the call. Is it okay to share with it now?
Sure.
I just wanted to share that when I did the course, as part of that, the students were coached by Diane and Heather Ash. And during one of the coaching calls, I was saying to Diane, I really want to make this decision. I'm really going to leave psychology. I'm just in a state of despair because I don't know how to do it. And she waited for a moment and then said to me words that I'll never forget, which is, you're already doing it. And in that moment, when you said that, everything just changed. And I realized, oh my gosh, I am already doing it. I'm here doing this coaching course that I've nearly finished. I've got all this knowledge and wisdom behind me. And you also said to me on that call that nobody could ever take away my knowledge and my experience. And that really just made me feel so much more at ease and so much more confident. So I knew then, yes, she's right. I've got a PhD in psychology. No one can ever take that away from me. And I can use all of those skills in the work that I want to do with coaching. And so then I made that decision that on the 20th of September 2019, I was going to release my registration as a psychologist in Australia and move into coaching. And that's what I did. And then it was so interesting because I thought, okay, now I've got this coaching business, and where am I going to find clients for energy coaching and life coaching and all of this sort of stuff? But what ended up happening was I'd been sharing my journey on Facebook with my community, and I had been triggering a lot of people, a lot of colleagues, because they were like, oh, that's spiritual stuff, and that's a bit and do that. And anyway, then what happened was some of them said to me, can you show me how to make that transition too? Can you teach me how to get out of psychology and out of this model that we're working in Australia now and, you know, do what you're doing? And so the coaching happened very naturally. I never in a million years thought that I'd be teaching other health professionals how to get out of their health profession and do something different. And so that's how it all started. And now today, I got a thriving business. My business didn't go backwards financially or anything. It has just continued to blossom and grow. And I've been able to set it up in a way now where I can work around this one, buddy, no, where I can work around this one, look after an aging parent, and yeah, I still support myself and my mum. So yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. So, well, why did you choose? Well, one, because you wanted to get out. I hear the rules were changing and all of that. And I know when your dog's pulling at your clothes, little puppy, it's fine. But what made you choose life, and especially like the life energy and spiritual coaching? Because you just said people were like, whoa, are you woo-woo now, Brooklyn, or what?
Yeah, and I've gone crazy because I started talking about manifesting everything. But the reason I went back to it was because I realized when all of those things were happening politically in psychology in Australia, I realized then that there was something happening, and I read something, I can't remember if it was Abraham Hicks or Gabby Bernstein, but someone was talking about your inner guidance system. It was Abraham Hicks' books I was reading at the time, and talking about how you always know, your soul always knows what's right for you. And when you have that feeling, you know, that you're getting cracked open and you're getting an opportunity to remember who you are and why you're here. And the things that you go back to are why you're here and who you are. And so when I realized that, wow, I'd gone back to journaling, journal prompts, manifesting, all of that. And then I became, well, not obsessed, but excited. And I wanted to devour everything. Then I knew. And when the more I looked at it, the more I could see there were a lot of parallels with what I'd been doing therapeutically as a psychologist. For example, with manifesting, you know, you talk about, well, we're going to set an intention and let's look at our limiting beliefs and let's take aligned action and all those kinds of things. And they're very, very similar. They're not the same, but they're very similar to things that we do in cognitive behavior therapy, you know, or brief solution focused therapy, those evidence-based, those evidence-based models that we've been using in psychology. So it made sense to me. And I thought, well, you know, there's so much I already know, and I can link the spiritual stuff to this. And it was just like this sense of peace and excitement and calm. And yeah, it was like coming home, finding the spirituality. So that's when I knew I wanted to learn more. I felt like I'd read so many books, but they were all beginning to sound the same. And I wanted to learn how to do the work because, you know, there's shelf help. You read the book and you put it on the shelf.
I never heard that before. Thank you. I love it.
but I want to be someone who takes action and who implements things. So for me, it was really important to learn it, and I wanted to share it with everyone because I felt like I'd found the Holy Grail or something. Just that sense of pure alignment and total alignment, and it just gives you this sense of unshakable confidence, and you just want to share everything with the world. But I hadn't got any formal qualifications or training. So that's when I, started looking around, and that's when I found your program and I enrolled in it straight away. Yeah. So it was amazing. All the planets aligned, and I haven't looked back.
Sweet. And, so you're doing all this. You just made a comment. You hung up your shingle for psychology in 20. I mean, the pandemic then hit.
That's right.
Whoa. So you made a transition kind of with or during the pandemic, which must have been really crazy. So what about building up your client? You said you didn't really suffer, but, from the private practice into the client, I mean, how did all that happen?
Well, do you know what? It was the pandemic. We moved into the pandemic, so later in 2019, and where I am in Victoria, Australia, we had the most lockdowns of any country in the world. And we're only allowed out of the house an hour a day. And that was,
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I was horrified.
It was crazy, and I had to go online. So until then, my business had been seeing clients face to face in person, and there'd always been a lot of fear about going online because I thought nobody will ever do that. But what happened was people were forced to do things online because I had no choice because we couldn't get out. So all services went online, and that worked out in my favor. And that COVID in that way, while it was so horrible for so many people, but in a business sense, it really helped my business and it really unlocked so much for me. And now we're sitting here, the end of September 2023, and my business is still all entirely online, which means, I can be home. And I've just got so much more freedom. One of my values is, my other coach, Ben Harvey, he coined the term shadow values. And one of the shadow values that he speaks about is, he calls it control, but I call it choice. And it means like control over your time, over your day, over the clients you work with, over your fees, over, all that kind of stuff. And that's like my big value. So I've been able to build a business now where I get to work with clients that pay me, that love to do this work, that are on my wavelength, that come into my world and they're already saying, I've been listening to your podcast, or, this, that, or the other. And they already speak the language. There's no convincing, there's no justifying. I don't have to prove anything. I'm just attracting different people now who want this kind of work. Maybe they've tried it before and, that's fine. And now but it's all business related. So, and I only work with business professionals. So it started off being psychologists, but now it's broad. And
okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask you, who all do you work with now?
Yeah. So it started off being psychologists because that was what I knew. And I was attracting people who were like sitting on the sidelines watching everything. And then they were like, hey, can you? So it started off there, and then it kind of expanded to counsellors. And anyway, now I've got a huge community of counsellors that I look after online. So there's 18,000 members across my different communities. Wow. And I've taken a leadership role there because it was available. And I now teach them how to start their businesses and how to get their businesses aligning with their bright, shiny values and their shadow values so that they can be successful, whatever success looks like to them. It's different for everybody. It's not always about making $1 million. Sometimes success, like me, it's about having more time freedom and more choices.
I'm going to interrupt you and I'm so happy you're saying that, because literally yesterday I finished developing a webinar and I was talking about when I first became a coach. I mean, I'm talking about the manifestation process, and I had made up a list of my literal list from back then. And it was all, I wanted the freedom. I want to control my time, my hours. Who do I work with? Because, you go into a regular job and you're forced to work with people that you would never choose frequently,
Yeah.
right? So just
Yeah.
thank you for reiterating that. And it's just so funny because it's like I had you in my head yesterday.
Yeah, and so then it's gone from counselors to now, other people started coming in saying, well, I see that you work with counselors and psychologists, but I'm a mental health social worker. Can you work with me and help me? Or I'm a Reiki practitioner, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a music therapist, I'm an art therapist. So it's just health and wellbeing practitioners who want to start a business or who are in business, but they're not yet feeling the love. They're burning out, or they're starting to resent it, or there's issues. And so, they're wanting to have what I've got and feel energized and excited and, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I do now. And it's where my passion is. And had everything that happened in psychology not happened, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'd be out of the house for 10 hours a day. I'd be working with clients that were high needs, high complex, not paying for services, things like that. And my mindset's shifted as well. I've got a much better business mindset now than I did before. Like, I think a lot of the time when health practitioners and healers, coaches want to go and help, they do so because they've been on a journey and they want to give back, and they really want to help. And I think sometimes they do that to the detriment of the business, that they want to undercharge or lower their fees and things like that. And I know, because I did that too. And it's not a great way to run a business. And there are other ways to run a business and still give back. But you can pay yourself as well. So that's why it's so important to me to be able to help people with that and do it in a way that, is congruent with their values, so they're not feeling icky or uncomfortable or anything like that. So and
that congruency is really vital, isn't it?
Right?
Because it's like an artist, when we get to the marketing side of it, it's like, how do you serve and not sell? Because I hate when there's just so many things. So I don't know if you remember in the class, I just have people reflect on, all the ways they've been marketed to that drove them crazy. And they keep a list of what everyone says every class. I've got this list, and it's like, we don't do that. We don't, like, what is it? The clickbait, or, here, I'm going to give you this, but it's like, there's a million ways that's, in my opinion, unethical, but it doesn't resonate with what our values, like you're saying, are.
No, I really believe that you don't need to sell, but I do believe that everything you do online is marketing. Your website, of course, it's marketing, but your fee is marketing. The way you comment on a Facebook page, that's a reflection of your business. If you're in a Facebook community or, something like that, or one of the other communities that you're in, and, every single thing that you write, every comment that you make, that's marketing a practice. And believe you me, like, I really see a lot of people commenting on things in the online world at the moment. Some of them I know straight away, you're amazing. I'm definitely going to send clients to you who need what you do. And there are others that I think straight away, no way, Jose. I'm not going to send, because I can't, no. So everything that you do is marketing. You don't always have to have sales pages and funnels and bumps and upsells and tripwires and cold DMing people.
Right. Even the word tripwires makes you think, oh shit, they're coming for me, right?
Yeah. And I really believe that if you can let that stuff go and you can just show up as yourself, release imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome comes from you feeling not confident. Like, there's something in you that you're believing to be true. You're believing that you're not good enough, smart enough, intelligent enough, worthy enough, all those things, right? But once you can clear that, using so many of the techniques in your course, once people can clear that, and they can just show up as themselves, that your energy is what's going to be attracting clients to you. not a sales page and not a gorgeous website. You know, I've sold through Google Docs before. You don't need a bit.
Right. I talked a little bit about imposter syndrome last time because, because I always, I've been doing like artists. I'm in my 9th year, going on 10 anyway. Shit. See, that's the other thing. You have to be able to be yourself. And sometimes my mouth, but people get over it. But yeah, that imposter syndrome, I've seen that is, I would bet 60 to 70% of the people that go through my course, that's one of the things they're afraid of. Who am I to, it's like the Marianne Williamson thing. Who am I to be friggin' great, right? And her response is, well, who are you not to? Because they are, but that's why we have coaches too, to help us get over that speed hump, right? So you must deal with that in your business. Because if you're working with people wanting to transition both in career or to become more in alignment with their heart, they're going to hit that often, right?
Yeah, they do. And it's so interesting because, it's just a matter of remember who they are and why they're here and why they're doing this. Because sometimes they get into their human ego mind, all those little crazy thoughts pop in, and we just worry about the human side. But we have to remember that we're souls having a human experience, and your soul has a purpose. You chose to be here for a reason, and it's safe for you to do what you want. And of course, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And that's okay. People are going to get on the bus, people are going to get off it. That's just and that's totally fine. And as soon as you become okay with that, then you have this unshakable confidence. But it's not even confidence, just you feel so grounded that it doesn't even matter. And if people are going to disagree, that's okay, or if they don't like what you're doing and they want to unsubscribe or unfollow, that's okay. There's always new people coming, and you're always energetically aligned with the perfect for you clients. All right. It's just, you have to dial into that. So if they're not showing up yet, how are you not showing up? So yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's a good point though. And, so I'm going to keep going back to the transition because you and I could talk all night, right? But so you said you're also big on coaches having multiple revenue streams. Yes. And so talk about that and like what you're using. And that you didn't use as a psychologist.
Yeah. So when I was working as a psychologist, all I was doing was in-person sessions because I didn't know any better. But now what I do is I've probably got about maybe a quarter of my work is actual coaching sessions and therapy sessions and stuff like that. But the rest of it is online digital products. So things like memberships, subscriptions, courses, printables, I have an Etsy store. So all of these sorts of things can become additional revenue pathways. And for me, this is really important to impress upon business owners, especially women, but business owners, because I want you to be able to future-proof your business. Who knows? They're already talking about another pandemic happening. In Australia, we've got this new outbreak of some unidentified respiratory condition that 3,000 people have got. So it makes sense to future-proof your practice. If you're not going to be able to get those one-on-one clients and you're putting pressure on yourself to fill your diary, you're running Google ads, Facebook ads, you're freaking out because you open up your diary and it's got a lot of white space, I want to take that away from you by showing you that there are other ways that you can get money coming into the business. So you can create products. And do you know what? If you went into your Dropbox or your iCloud or your OneDrive, you have probably got a whole bunch of stuff there that you've made already. All you need to do is drag and drop it into Canva, pretty it up a little bit and pop it up. Or you can sell it on your website. You can put it on Amazon. You can put it on Etsy and just let people know that you've got it. And you do that by, just sharing in your stories on Instagram or Facebook. hey, I've got this journal and this is how it's going to help you. Or, take a video of yourself flipping through the journal or scrolling through it in Canva or something like that. Put a little price tag on it, $7, $17, $27, $37, $47, whatever.
Okay, now I need you. I must have thousands of them, and I've never done anything like that before. Okay, I want to consult with you.
It takes like 10 minutes, really. You've already got it there. Just, put some pretty pictures on it from Canva, turn it into a PDF, upload it, let people know it's there. You don't need a sales page even. Just let people know that it's there and the sales will start coming. The trick, for lots of people ask about Etsy, so I'll just speak to that very quickly. Etsy is wonderful in that they charge very low fees. It costs 20 cents to list something, and that listing lasts for 12 months. So very affordable fees. And they invest a lot of money into SEO, which really helps you sell your products. But to be successful on Etsy, it really is a game of volume. You really do need to have many, many products. On average, you probably want to get about 1,000 products up there. I've got 350 products, but I make about $2,000 a month selling things. And I never do anything. Like, the shop's there and people will just come to the shop and they just buy stuff. So every month I get this deposit in my account from Etsy for about $2,000, which in Australian dollars is about 3,000. So that's great.
Okay, so I want to do a whole webinar with you where you're going to teach people how to do that, or you're probably already doing it. I've put all of Brooklyn's contact information in the event, and I'll try to help me remember to add the links afterwards. But I'm happy to promote you if you want to do any kind of thing like that on teaching people, because that's awesome. And so many of us, if we're doing, it's like you and I I've been doing this kind of work, I don't know, 40 years, 38 years, a long time. and so a lot of people would appreciate that. Because the other thing that's coming up that is going to make what you're doing, I think, even more relevant is the whole AI, which I was also putting. And so I've got this webinar I'm going to be doing soon, but that I just finished developing. But AI is going to be making things obsolete. And so, Brooklyn, what you're teaching and what you're focusing on, I think, is going to be even more relevant as we move forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just think if you diversify your revenue streams for your business, you're being a smart business person and, you're looking after yourself. And when you get to protect yourself financially and create your own security, I think energetically it frees you up to just be yourself and enjoy the work. You don't have to worry. You know that money is coming in. So that's one way. And there are so many things that you can do. The other way, I did mention memberships. Memberships are a great way to create recurring income for your business. And this is something that keeps my business going. So I have a few memberships, all at different price points. I started them at $7 and now they go all the way up to $97 a month. And those memberships bring in thousands of dollars, and they bring it in every single week, just on autopilot, just because, someone might sign up on Monday, someone signs up on Tuesday, 10 people sign up on Wednesday. So there's always, I call it drops in the bucket. There's always drops in the bucket. When you go and create something like a little membership for whatever your healing service is, maybe you're going to do tapping, or maybe you're going to do shamanic healing, or maybe you're going to have a little membership on imposter syndrome or something like that. And you put in a lot of work to create it and you sell it for $27 or something like that. You feel when you create a page for it or create your marketing for it, go, oh, it's so cheap and da-da-da, and I really need more money because, it doesn't reflect what I put in. But you know what? Sooner or later, you get 100 members, and then you get 200 members, and you get 300 members, and they're all telling their friends about it. And the group just grows without you advertising, without you paying a cent for it. And money just keeps coming in. And it's a really, really wonderful way to help more people than you can just doing one-to-one, because your time's limited with one-to-one. So you get to help more people. You can still be available. You can still support them, but they get to work with you for a fraction of the cost of hiring you as a coach.
Right.
But still make the money that your business needs you to make. Not what when we talk about payment and things like that, never worry about what your clients can afford. That's none of your business. It's always their choice how they choose to spend their money.
Right.
It has nothing to do with your client. It has nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with your business. Yeah, ask your business what's the right fee for this membership or something. But recurring revenue, with the digital products as well. So you've got two little income streams there, and then you've got your coaching. Not hard. It takes time to set up a membership initially, but once it's set up, you never have to touch it, and you just go into it once a week or once a fortnight or once a month, whatever it's going to be, and add in a new little training or do a little coaching call or something like that. Not everyone's going to turn up to your coaching call. I've got 700 members in one of my memberships, which is to help business owners in health and wellness get their businesses started, get their private practices started. But of all those people, there's only 200 in my Facebook group. The other 500, they're just not into Facebook and they don't want to be on it, and they're not into communities. They just want to get all the goodies and watch the recordings and listen to replays. They're from all over the world. But then in the coaching calls, maybe only 10 people might turn up, sometimes one. So it's a really flexible model that can be really easy for you to run. And it creates more time for you. If time is important to you and you want to have that flexibility, you can cut your coaching back from 10 sessions a week to maybe 2, and put in a coaching call every now and again. So it gives you back your time. It feels good to have time back. It feels good to help more people.
Wow. So I've got one more question left before we close, but then I'm going to just offer you now, if you're going to start a new cohort, let me know, because we can do one of these where you can talk even in more depth about that aspect of it, because I think that would help a whole lot of people, whether they're coaches or not. And I'd be happy to promote that for you. But my last question is, what advice do you have, especially to other coaches or even just viewers who might be considering a career transition? What's like one or two really important things that you want them to know?
I want you to listen to your heart and your soul and your body. We all get the messages in different ways. You're going to have thoughts, but mostly, well, for me, it was a feeling. I just felt the dread of going back to work as a psychologist. I felt the dread. I felt heavy about it. I would, drag myself to work. I wasn't loving it. And I didn't know really what that meant. But what I know now is that when a problem arises, the solution is there at the same time. You just have to flip it and ask yourself, what's my energy trying to tell me now? What's my heart or my soul or my body? Because some people feel it in their bodies. Some people feel it in their energy. Other people have the thoughts. But tune into however you're getting the sense, and ask yourself, what would feel better? What would feel better? What would feel different? And then ask yourself, how can I make this real for me? How many ways can I make this true for me? It's so important. You have part of your brain called the reticular activating system, and it is like a puppy. Like, you're going to give it a command and it's going to want to fetch you all of the information, all of the answers. So ask it good questions. The quality of the work that you do, the quality of the life that you have, is going to come from the questions that you ask. You're really good at asking them of your clients, so start asking them of yourself, and ask yourself, not is it possible like I was, but ask yourself, how many ways can I make this happen? And you're going to sit down with a piece of paper and you're just going to do stream of consciousness writing. Don't worry about if it's scribble or it's messy or spelling mistakes. Don't worry. Get it all out. As many ways as you can make it happen. You're going to hit a wall. You're going to say, well, I'm done. I don't have any more. I'm calling BS on that. And I say, no, you're going to sit with that and then come up with 2 or 3 more ways. Right. And then from those, you're just going to circle, the 2 or 3 that'll get you there the quickest, because remember the Pareto principle, 80% of your results are attributed to 20% of the things that you do. So you don't have to do all of those things on your list. Look at the 2 or 3 that are going to get you from where you are to where you want to be the quickest and the easiest. That would be my guidance. And know that if you've got the idea that you're meant to be doing something else, then you're meant to be doing something else. That's the universe.
That is really brilliant. I mean, it's so simple, right? If you're thinking it, it's probably true.
Yes. You had that thought for a reason. Like, you didn't just come up with that. That was given to you, that thought. I wonder if, or is it possible, or I would really rather, instead of going to this type of work today, I wish I was doing this other thing. You have that thought for a reason. You can do that other thing. Ask yourself, assume it's already done, assume it is possible, and ask yourself, right, how many ways? Or future pace and say, well, I'm just going to imagine for a moment that's already done. And I'm going to ask myself, okay, in this space right now, how am I feeling? What sort of thoughts do I have? What sort of actions do I have? What sort of beliefs do I have? What language do I use every day? How do I feel? Connect in with that, and then ask yourself the question, how on earth did I get here from there? So just reverse engineer it. If that's a different way that will work for you, reverse engineer it. And ask yourself you can do a meditation, you can do a visualization, you can ask that version of you, hey, tell me, what did you do, future self? How did you get here? What did you have to believe? Who did you need to become? What did you need to release? All those kinds of things. Ask the better questions. You'll get the answer come out of that meditation or visualization that you do for yourself. Write it down and then implement, because that's the other thing. We can be really good at doing this work, but sometimes we forget to implement. And the people who get the best results are the ones that implement the guidance that they receive, right?
Yeah, I've noticed, because I've been running this for many decades, that I call it, well, a lot of things, but when we start to manifest, it's like I say, if we're just thinking about something, that's putting a little bit of energy out. But as soon as we actually take action and steps towards it, that's like pulling a bucket loads more energy towards it. And your chances, especially if you stay focused. I mean, I have been blessed with a pretty remarkable life. And some of the stuff I've manifested actually goes into the miracle realms, like even blew me away. And I was the one doing it. I mean, I didn't know what you could actually do. So what you're saying, it really works, but you also have to take those steps. You got to put more, and it doesn't even mean a lot. I mean, I remember when I went to Indonesia, I mean, the universe moved heaven and earth. And this was back before computers, right? And I finally just decided, I know I'm going to go to Indonesia. So if I'm going to go, I'm going to have to, I got to learn the language. So I put a little sign handwritten, anyone willing to teach me the Indonesian language. I went to the only Asian store in Spokane, Washington. They had a glass top. They let me slide it under their little glass top. I waited for weeks. Nothing happened. I went and looked. It was still there. Another week or two went by, and one Indonesian and this was in Spokane, Washington, back a long time ago, but contacted me. And that one step turned everything on its ear. I mean, miracle after, like weird stuff going on that was to my benefit. So you're right. Yeah. I mean, you got to keep the faith, as they say.
You've got to keep the faith, and 2, whatever you focus on is going to expand. You're going to see more of it. I mean, the human brain receives 300,000 bits of information per second, but we only process about 2,000 of those. And that, it's our beliefs that are the filter. So if you can shift your mindset, that's why mindset's so important. If you can shift your belief and say, it is possible, or how can I, or let's do this, then all of a sudden your perspective shifts, and your mind, or that filter, will start to give you evidence that this is possible and it's happening. And that's perhaps what you experience there. It's different for everybody, but there are certainly ways. That's my bow buddy. But there are certainly ways that you can manifest. And the thing is that we're manifesting all the time. In fact, in your business, speaking about business, yeah, everything that you're seeing now is a direct result of your past thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors. You know, it's a result of your past energy. You manifested this. So if you're not loving your business, it's okay. You can change it. If you are loving your business, amazing. Keep going. You're doing amazing.
Right.
So yeah, you're always manifesting. It's just whether or not you're being intentional about it.
Right. So I just popped everything that Brooke has, like how to contact her, because as you can tell, she's pretty freaking amazing, right? I adore this woman, but she's got a client welcome pack template. I put that on. Normally it's for, like she mentioned, her, you know, that she's charging for some of this, but it's just $1, she said, for the next 48 hours. There's also a 3-day trial for another starting a project. You know, anyway, I put all of that in the comments for you. And I have a feeling we're going to have Brooke back because, I mean, I just want to support her because what she's doing sounds really, really exciting. And I'm really so happy that you took time tonight or tomorrow morning in your world to visit with me. And, you know, stay on. You and I can chat for a minute, but everyone else, replay is here. If you missed it, you can still watch it, and I'll pin it to the top. So Brooklyn, blessings on you. I can't wait to talk to you as soon as we're going to wind this up.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And, you know, doing your course was an absolute turning point. And if I can do it, everybody can do it. Trust me. And if you're looking for a course, do this course, do the artist course. It's amazing. I haven't looked back. I use all the resources on a regular basis. It was above and beyond and by far the most useful, practical course for coaches. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to put it together.
My thank you. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate it. All right, folks, we'll be back in a couple of weeks and we'll have Brooke back again, I'm sure. Brooklyn, rather.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.